and a pleasant day, everyone. Welcome to the 4Dice Boxing presents the Quick Play Edition Tournament. I'm Kevin Elias, your host here on our YouTube channel, and today we're going to have an 8-man light heavyweight tournament, pro boxing, the survival inside the ring. And it's going to be with the new quick play game offered by 4Dice Boxing. We're going to be playing, and I'll walk you along with how we're going to do it. We're going to be playing with 2 10-sided dice for the initial roll. How the quick game plays as opposed to the 4Dice version of boxing. In the quick play mode, just a couple of dice rolls and you have an outcome of a fight. What you do is you take the 10-sided dice right here, you roll them, and whatever the roll result is, that is the score that is added to the rating itself to give us a final outcome. Now, if they're doubles that are rolled, anything from double ones to double zeros, then that's where the action takes place, and we would go to the quick play charts. Anything that can happen here, from a knockdown to weakening the opponent to an injury to the cuts to a boxer, an injury, knockdown, automatic knockout effect can come into play. And when that happens, you simply will then go roll on the regular charts, the regular 4Dice Boxing charts, to find out what actually happened and what transpires. And then you would re-roll for that boxer. Again, the knockdown charts, the cuts, the injuries, the penalties, all in effect. And, of course, the TKO. Now, the TKO will come into effect also at the end of a bout, because if you look at the quick play, if there's a 45-point difference, if the match is 45 points plus, which would actually be 46 points, the difference between the two fighters, then there would be a TKO opportunity, of which you would come to the TKO check and see what happens. So, in the quick play game, a lot of the regular 4Dice ratings and that come into effect. The knockout rating, if there's a knockdown, you go to that particular chart. There's the defense rating that would come into play if there is a TKO check, a cut check, an injury check, etc. And of course, the records, the ratings. So let's just dive into it and see what happens as we have our first ever live light heavyweight tournament event using 4Dice Boxing quick play version. Here are our 8 fighters. It'll be Tommy Hicks against Bobby Ches. Tommy Hicks, 18-12-3, a former fighter, taking on the great Bobby Ches from the 70s and 80s, 44-8, 87.9% rating, and a 63% KO rate. It'll be James Scott. If you remember him in the prison, he fought in the prison. I remember he'd fight on NBC Sports, usually on Sunday afternoons. He'll be fighting Yolande Pompey. Scott at 19-2-1 career record against Pompey, 38-12-5. It'll be Sergey Kovalov. He's the only current fighter in this tournament. He comes in at 35-5-1. He'll take on Richie Cates at 44-6. And finally, it'll be Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, 96-6-13 against Mate Parlov here in the opening round. You'll see when we roll the dice, you'll be able to play these 4 matches here in a matter of maybe 5 minutes total, and then we'll go to the second round. Again, this is 4Dice Boxing, the quick play version, now available from 4Dice Boxing. So let's get to it. Tommy Hicks and Bobby Ches. Again, note their ratings. Tommy Hicks is a very low-rated fighter, so he's going to need a high dice roll. Now, our dice are right here. We're looking at 2 10-sided die. So we're looking at a 10 would represent a 0 if you're looking at a real 10-sided dice. And, of course, double 10s would represent 100. The lead dice will be black. The white dice will be the follow-up. So here we go. Tommy Hicks. His first roll, a 21. So the dice roll we're going to put right into the chart, 21. So for Tommy Hicks right now, his total is a 32.2. 32.2. Not a great number by any means for him, but we'll see where that transpires in the end of the fight. Okay, now for Bobby Ches. Here's his roll. 0-2. Bobby Ches only rolls a 2. That's not good. But he had an 87.9 to begin with, so he's going to be sitting at 89.2. That's still going to be enough for the victory. And you look at the difference, and I've got to get my calculator out here, so we'll do that right here, right now. Put the calculator right here at 89.2 minus the 32.2. So Bobby Ches wins his 57-point difference. All right, 57. We'll move that over here. So what that means is we're going to try for a TKO, because that means Bobby Ches did enough in the fight, even though he only scored 2, did enough in the fight to win it, and possibly by TKO. If we look at our ratings here, we go to our quick play chart. Since the difference is 50-some, it'll be a 45-point plus. We're going to check for a TKO and stoppage, so we're going to go to our TKO chart. Now, when you look at the fighters, Bobby Ches, we don't worry about him. The knockout rating does not come into effect. Tommy Hicks's defense rating is a 3, so we're going to add 3 to the dice roll. 3 to the dice roll for the TKO check. Notice we're going to roll two 6-sided dice, which we've got to set that up. And we will do that right here now. So we're going to set up 2 6-sided dice. We're going to show the red, and we're going to show a yellow. And that'll be our secondary option. We'll see if there's a TKO right now. So whatever the dice roll is, 2 to 12, we're going to add 3 to the points, 3 to the roll, because, again, when you look, Tommy Hicks is a +3 on his defense rating. That means he was not that good. The rating stems from your losses compared to how many times you were knocked out in those losses. So let's go to it. The roll. The roll is going to be a 3. So we're going to go 3 and add 3. 3 and add 3. 1, 2, 3. No. So there will be no TKO for Bobby Ches. So Bobby Ches will win. And if you look at the rating here, since it's over here, 19 points and above, Bobby Ches will win by unanimous decision. So the first fight is now in the books. Bobby Ches win by unanimous decision. Now these are all 10-round bouts. So when you look at the chart, we're not going to have to check to see the stoppage. You could actually look and see if there's a stoppage. What round was it in? What was the time in that stoppage? So let's go to our next fight real quick, if we could. It's James Scott against Yolanda Pompey. Here we go. James Scott rolls a 0 and a 1. So that is just a dice roll of 1. That is not good. So for James Scott, he'll go 74.6. That simply means that Yolanda Pompey has a chance to pull the upset here. Let's see if he can do it. Pompey, only 451 is his rating. He rolls a 53. So that is definitely going to be more. And Pompey should get the win. Remember, there's no doubles, so there's nothing to look at here. So let's get our calculator out real quick. 53 plus the 51.5, 104.5. Okay, and when you look at that, you're going to minus that by the 74.6 to find that the difference is 29.9. And when you look at that, 29.9 is not enough for the TKO, but it is enough for a unanimous decision. So it's a 10-round unanimous decision. for Yolande Pompey. As you see, it's very simple. Things can happen, but basically the match rolls itself, and you can have these bouts done within 5 minutes, and this is 4 bouts, so it takes maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. We're going slow just for the sake of seeing it. Here's Sergey Kovalov. Let's see what he does now against Richie Cates. 4-0. So the dice roll is going to be a 40, and that is going to be a total point score of 146.1. 106.1 plus the 40, 146. That's a good number for Kovalov. Here's Kate. 49. He did a little bit more in the fight, but not enough overall because of his lower score. So it's going to be 49 plus the 66.8. Total 115.8. So Kovalov will get the victory, but as you can tell, it's not going to be enough to secure a possible TKO win. We'll just verify it right here. 30.3. It's not enough if you look, so it's going to be a unanimous decision. So Kovalov wins by unanimous decision. Again, very expected. Now, if you're going to play the quick play version, the idea behind quick play is one, you can have lots of victories, lots of fights in a short period of time to build fight records. But how I'm doing it with the quick play version, any fights that wind up being a split decision, majority decision, or draw, as you see here, will automatically generate a rematch. A rematch that we would play on the 4-dice boxing game itself, because I feel that the fight earned that from the quick play. Or if it's an upset, you may want to do that, such as a TKO or maybe a knockout. Maybe the favorite fighter got knocked out or something unique happened. It might warrant a second fight on the big regular game itself. So let's play our last match. Philadelphia, Jack O'Brien, 92-6-13 against Mate Parvlov. Here we go. 77, we've got our first doubles of the game. So first doubles of the day, 77, our quick play chart, that is going to be a cut or a knockdown. Cut 1 to 65 or a knockdown 66 to 100. Let's re-roll. It's a 55, so it is a cut. All right, so let's go ahead and mark it on our chart. That means Jack O'Brien cut Mate Kovalov. Okay, now the result is telling us with the cut, minus 10 and a cut check. So, minus 10 and a cut check. So that means that we will take 10 off of Parvlov's score at the end, but we got to go to the cut chart now to see what happened. So let's go to the cut chart, and that's our normal chart. Okay, 1 to 2 cuts in the match, and we'll use the regular cut. Again, we're going to roll actually three 6-sided dice, so we got to add another one. So let's just go ahead and add another one here. We'll go ahead and do that right here. Save the option. Okay, we're going to roll these 3 dice and see what happens. And again, we're going to take our defensive rating in account. Don't forget the defensive rating. So Parvlov is a 0, so there will be no adjustment on the chart. Here we go. There's our 3 dice. 5, 2, and 3 is going to be 10. So we're looking at a 10 here. Cut under the right eye. Cut under the right eye. And if you look, it says no TKO check. So there will be no TKO check. So just a cut under the right eye. Okay, we'll put that down. Cut right eye. It's a minus 10. I like to highlight that a little bit if you wouldn't mind. There we go. And it's going to be minus 10 to Parvlov's number as he rolls here right now. Let's see what happens. Parvlov rolls a 13. That's not good. So it's 13. So we know Jack O'Brien, by the way, has got to roll again. So we'll get to that here because he got a 77. He still does not have a score yet. So let's roll for him. So O'Brien, let's give him that 13 score. Let's see what happens. So we're going to give him the 13. All right. So we'll give him 13. The roll was 77. We're going to give him 13 points. That's going to be a total of 90.1. O'Brien gets a 90.1. Now we know Pavlov, we're going to roll him, and he's going to lose 10 points. So let's see what happens. Pavlov's score is a 63. Okay, so he gets a 63. All right. And this is where it comes into play now. We got to do the deduction. So we're going to take the 63 plus the 92.1 minus 10. It's 145.1. So despite the cut eye, Mate Pavlov, the favorite, is going to win the match, and he's going to win it handily by more than 40. So now we've got to check for the TKO. So again, we're going to look at this chart. We're going to look at Philadelphia. Jack O'Brien, he's at 2 defense, so we're going to add 2 points to the TKO and do the check. Here we go. Again, we're looking at 2 to 12, so we're going to look at these two numbers here, and let's roll and see what happens. And we're going to add 2 to the numbers. So it's a 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. No TKO. So it ends up being a unanimous decision. So we got all 4 unanimous decisions. And surprisingly enough, despite the fact that we rolled doubles and Mate Pavlov lost 10 points, he still ends up with a big win in probably the most competitive fight of the night. Mate Pavlov defeats Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. So this will set up the second round, which when we come back, we're going to have Bobby Ches taking on Yolande Pompey, Sergey Kovalov against Mate Pavlov. And if you look at the numbers, folks, did we have any upsets? No. Yes, we had the upset here. Yolande Pompey and Bobby Ches was a winner. So you do get occasional upsets, but again, the game itself is tailored toward the favorite fighters. So we'll be back right after this with round number 2. And welcome back to the semifinals and the championship of our 4-Dice Boxing Quick Play Tournament with a new quick play version of the game. And the light heavyweight division, we've got Bobby Ches taking on Yolande Pompey and Sergey Kovalov against Mate Pavlov. Again, one upset in the match from the opening round, and it was James Scott losing to Pompey. But if you look, all 4 of the matches ended by unanimous decision. So we did not get a chance to see any knockouts, TKOs. We did not get to roll for the rounds and the time of the match. Hopefully we will here in round number 2. So we're set to go. Bobby Ches taking on Pompey. As you see, Bobby Ches should be the favorite. He's a slight favorite, 87.9 point rating against Pompey's 51 rating. Kovalov, a close encounter with Pavlov in rating-wise, so it could really go either way. Defensively, we don't have any negatives, so basically, if we get to the knockdown stage or whatnot, we could see maybe an injury, maybe something occurs in the fight that could result in the double roll. As you remember in 4-Dice boxing, if you get a knockdown, then you roll for subsequent knockdowns. 3 knockdowns in quick play, the bout is over. What do you do in a double roll? Well, if you roll doubles or a sequence, that results in another knockdown. We'll get to that if and only if, remember, we get to the doubles results. So we're ready to go. And again, this is going a lot slower because we're bringing you 2 understand the quick play version and how it plays, but normally this would play very, very quickly. So Bobby Ches against Yolande Pompey. We're ready to go. For Bobby Ches, he rolls a 32. So Ches with a 32. As you look, the result is a 32 plus his 87.9. It's good for 119.9. And Pompey, who beat James Scott, is ready to roll. He rolls a 54. That is going to be close. We may see a split decision here, folks. 54, that is going to be 54 and 51. That is going to be a 105.5. Okay, so this is a close match. Nothing happened in it, but 119.9 minus 105.5. It's going to be good for a 14.4 decision difference. 14.4. There it is. 6-18 is a split decision. So we've got a split decision. The victory goes to Bobby Ches. Winner, split decision. Okay, so that's the first split decision we had in the fight. So that was a good fight. Here's Kovalov against Pavlov. Kovalov, a 0-4. That's not good. So he is just at a 110.1. Not a good outing for Kovalov. Pavlov rolls at 87. That's going to be a big win. That's why we roll with two 10-sided dice, because when you take a look at boxers that have a disparity in the ratings between a 40 and 50 point difference, normally that would not result in a chance, very slim chance for an underdog to win. But with the quick play version, a dice roll could make a difference. So you look at that 87, add to it the 92.1, and that's going to be 179.1. So Pavlov learned his lesson from the last match when he got a cut but still managed a big win. He will now be fighting for a TKO opportunity because it's more than 45. So we look, Kovalov is a 3 defensively, so then we're going to add 3 on the TKO chart. Here we go. We're going to roll the 2 6-siders right here. 4, 4, and we're adding 2. 1, 2, no TKO. High numbers get you the TKO, and in this case, it doesn't. Actually, Kovalov had a 3, so let's look there. 4, 5, 6, 7, no. He would have had to get to a 10. So there's no TKO. That means make Pavlov another winner by unanimous decision. So that's going to set up our championship. We're going to go ahead right to it. Bobby Ches taking on Mate Pavlov. Now, should this be a good match? Yes, it should. Pavlov actually will be the favorite in this match, barely. He's got a slight favorite of about 5 over Bobby Ches. We'll see what happens. Here we go, Bobby Ches. This is for the light heavyweight tournament championship. 97. What a nice number by Bobby Ches. 97. That's going to be hard to beat. 87.9. Bobby Ches comes up with 184.9. Saves his best fight for last. Pavlov is going to have to do something. He's going to need doubles. Here we go. 79. Close but no cigar. A good outing. That means it was a strong fight both ways. Lots of action based on the numbers, but not enough. 171.1. And let's see if this is probably going to end up being a split decision. 171.1. 13.8. Yes, it is. 13.8. If you look here, split decision. Could have gone either way. One judge had it for Ches, the other for Pavlov. So Bobby Ches winner by split decision. So if you're having a tournament and you're crowning a champion, Bobby Ches would be the winner. What I would do is take this and have a rematch first of all, but it builds records. Bobby Ches would earn 3 victories and set himself up in a good position. In the regular 4-dice boxing game, he would probably be a main eventer after this. So that's the way we would do it. Now, we do add ratings. We base our ratings based on points in matches. A quick play version, you don't get as many points as the real 4-dice boxing game. But again, if you're rolling and you're playing enough matches, having enough matches with those fighters, they can earn those points and then climb the ladder even though they've not risked anything in a real match because they've played the quick play version. But I hope you've enjoyed it. This has been the 4-dice boxing light heavyweight tournament, the first of its kind, quick play version. Bobby Ches, your winner over Mate Parvlov. Thank you for watching.